Skuehl, and today I'm here to talk to you about reading. First off, I want to show you this slide. Did you know that only 1/3 of current fourth graders in the United States are able to read this page proficiently? And proficiently means read it with little to no mistakes and be able to understand and comprehend what's going on. So my thing is I think we should get our students to read. So let's get our kids reading. According to the National Association of Education Progress, 60% of all fourth graders in the United States scored below level on the National Reading Test in 2013. 80% of the low socioeconomic students scored below on the test in 2013. And so over my last 15 years in education, I've seen an increased awareness that students need to read, that we have a deficiency here and we need to make up this gap. And so I'm proposing 4 different things. 1, we need to do early intervention. 2, we need to hire highly qualified teachers. 3, our students need to have access to books, a lot of books at different levels. And then lastly, that we need to learn how, the parents and the students need to learn how to use the 5-finger method to choose the just right book for themselves. So first of all, I would like to start with the early intervention, because if we begin with those students who are average or below average that come into kindergarten not knowing their sounds and letters, we're going to be able to start right on track. According to Allington, from what readers need, is that we're on the right track. We have response to intervention, or RTI, in the later elementary, middle school, and high school, but we don't have anything at the early elementary, and we should, because if we were able to start our intervention at the very beginning, we would be able to roughly save the future of 1/2 of the beginning students who come in who are at risk to becoming struggling readers. Secondly, we should hire highly qualified teachers, not just with a certain amount of hours in a specific subject, math or reading specifically in this case, but they need to be well trained. They need to have different strategies they can employ in the classroom. According to Reading Rockets and the 6 T's of effective literature instruction from Allington, that there needs to be an active teaching model. For students who are at level or below level, they need teachers who do active teaching to model and to demonstrate things that they've not been able to get because they've not had the experience. And also with active teachers, we have research that shows that students with high-performing teachers can gain 5 to 6 months of learning compared to students who have a low-performing teacher. And also, if we have highly effective teachers, then those students in their classes are more likely to go to college, and they're also more likely to go to higher academic achieving colleges, and they can also earn more money. According to the National Association of Educational Progress, they shared that if we had 5 to 10% of the lower performing teachers removed from the classroom and we replaced them with higher performing teachers, that our students would be able to catch up among our world picture, where we would be able to go from the low performing to almost near the top. And you can see this here. Upper bound estimate, or the higher performing teachers, are way up here. The lower bound or lower performing teachers are down here. And so we don't fall in this category, and we need to raise our reading levels. And so some ways that I suggest that we keep these teachers is that we need to attract them, we need to recruit them, we need to reward them and support them, and then to protect them when we make cuts. And then also, the third thing that we need is we need to have access to books. Not access to just a library of books, but a library with a variety of books on different levels, lots of topics, to be able to allow the students to choose what it is that they want to read. According to Allington in '83, that schools, when they do intervention, don't allow students to have appropriate level text until they go into an intervention program. So if they're in reading intervention, they're in ESL, bilingual, or dyslexia, they don't get the appropriate books until they're in there. So they spend 4 hours of a day reading text that they're not on level at, that it's difficult for them to read, so they're not grasping as much. And then also, according to Guthrie and Humick in a 2004 meta-analysis, that they showed that 2 powerful factors is access to books and then having personal choice. If a book is too hard, say a 9-year-old kid is making 2 to 3 mistakes within a 100-page essay, it's too hard. It's going to be difficult. It's not going to be fun. They're going to struggle to finish it, and they'll put it down before they actually get through it. And then the last thing that I wanted to share is about the 5-finger method, which is from Book Adventure, is that with the 5-finger method, you would choose a book of the student's choice, open it up towards the middle where there are a lot of words, begin reading the book out loud preferably, and every time a word is missed, then you put down a finger. If you put down 1, that's a pretty good book because you're going to be able to read it with ease. 2, you're still okay. 3, it's beginning to get difficult and it may not be a pleasure to read because you will struggle so much. And then 4th, if you have 4 words, you might ought to look at finding a new book. And then if there's 5 words, choose a different book. Because 97% of people who have the opportunity to read on level where they don't have to struggle to read, they're going to read more. And then so, according to Rampy, Dion, and Donahue in '09, that we have 2 out of every students in the United States have a below level proficiency in reading, that they can't even perform on level grade tasks because our texts on level are such a higher level. And so we need to provide this opportunity for them to have on level books that are appropriate for their level. And so those are my suggestions for ways that we can increase students in student reading. 1, we need to have early intervention. 2, we need to hire highly effective teachers. 3, we need to have access to books. And then 4, we need to teach students and parents the 5-finger method so that they can choose just the right book, so that they can have the experience of reading fluently and proficiently without difficulty, and that it will be enjoyable. And then according to Allington, he compares the Matthew effect to reading, as in the saying, the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. The same thing happens in reading. The more you read, the better you get, the more vocabulary you gain. The less you read, the less you learn, and the less vocabulary you have to function in the real world. Thank you.